where we talk about the inspiration quotes, business tips and quotes for any person, for any business person. It's very important to start your day inspired in a sense, and picking leaves, from the people that have gone ahead of us when it comes to business growth and development and the management skills. But of course, that is all made possible with the Zabu Star 292 hash is the magical coding there, as you'll be able to buy government bonds and company securities. That is on Altex. Star 292 hash is the magic code for you, as you'll be available with quite lots of options. Government bonds or company securities at Altex. With as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you will be able to earn yourself a share and earn a side income. Markets already just about 10 minutes from now, they're going to be opening. They open at 8:15 a.m. and they close at exactly 3:15 p.m. East African time. That is Monday to Friday, except on the weekends when they don't operate, and also on the public holidays during the week when they don't operate. Zabu, my money, my future. Do something new for yourself this very year 2023. Altex East Africa. All right. This very time, getting straight into our business tips of the day. Let's take a look at what's really happening in there. Now, the business tip of the day says that don't limit yourself. Many people limit themselves to what they think or what they can do. You can actually go as far as your mind lets you. What you believe, remember, you can achieve. Now, that is a very interesting thought, and of course, it's not the first time we're doing it. We've done it before, but definitely every time we do it, there are quite lots of angles. There are quite lots of revelation. You get to realize that you can get to see that you can get something else from that very, very, very perspective. What you think, just like the Bible says, what you say you are. If you say something, you are that. And it's a spiritual principle, and we cannot rule out the fact of the spiritual principle when you're running businesses. Such, the mind. How do you think? You think you can do it, or you think you can't do it? If you according to what thought that dominates your mind is what you become, at that very time. So, but of course, that doesn't mean when you think positive, you won't have obstacles. Now, that's the only challenge in here, because there is always what we call testations. You always tested in something, whether you're really meant for it. It will always test you. You want to be the best business person, but you might run your business for one full year and you're operating losses. But in your mind, you're thinking that you have to make it. But you can't say, somebody can't say, I've been believing, I've been having a positive mindset about this, but why isn't it working out? No, brother, you're still just going through a test. You just need to keep on pursuing, keep on being positive regarding that. And of course, when I talk about being positive, accompany it with works. Wake up like a billionaire. Do everything like a billionaire. In that perspective, regardless whether you're making losses, keep on that. As time goes on, it will blossom and it will be something of impact to generations, not just you, the original eventer in that perspective. So keep on thinking positive. Your mind limits what you can do. It's actually, you limit yourself according to what you think is what you can do. And if you can, of course, challenge yourself to think way greater than what you think on a daily basis, I guess you will be able to see that you will be having quite lots of prospects you can succeed at, Well, that is it regarding the business tip of the day. But now let's wind this up as we take a look at the business quote of the day. Now, the business quote of the day says that there is only one success, and that is to be able to spend your life in your own way. There is only one success, that is to be able to spend your life in your own way. That is Christopher Marley. Well, there are quite lots of aspects. There are quite lots of revelations you can speak from that. Living your life your own way. In other words, it's trying to tell you that you actually have control over the circumstances that happen to you during your lifetime. You determine the course of events that happen to you. So, in that perspective, it's trying to show you that you have the power to transform your surroundings So when you're conscious of this aspect, if you're conscious of this ability, definitely there is no way you're gonna do something and it doesn't really work out. It has to work out that perspective. Yeah, so it's very important and key for you to have that mindset to know that you have control. Well, now away from that, let's get into our social media trends. What's trending? And of course, it's making a businesses in there. And of course, taking a look here at ECSE, of course, okay, at ECE, Ugandan's roadside food. Of course, for many people in there that buy that food, you can take a look at how it's really done. Surprisingly, it's always delicious. Okay, now still in here at Yugaman 01 says that Nachivubo Stadium in Kampala, Uganda. This stadium is $200 million. It's a $200 million project. And one of the most amazing things about it is that it's 100% being constructed. That is by Ugandans. Well, that is an achievable in there. Of course, as we wait for its completion, of course, it says well done at Chigundu Hamis. Okay, now still here, we see this is Kasesa's finest. Of course, she says that sing the third stanza of the Ugandan national anthem or go to jail. And of course, 98% of Ugandans definitely wouldn't make it. Okay, now littering is a common ugly behavior among Ugandans, and I won't say away from talking about it. How I wish that we could get a copy from this lovely elephant that loves to continue seeing a litter of a free environment. Wow, this is very now this week's speech, of course, emulate the elephant. Now see, a wild animal that doesn't have a reasoning capacity, and of course having the guts and abilities to do such. It's very amazing. Now, of course, in here still we see that only 1%. This is the Allen County. Only 1% of Ugandans earn 1 million Ugandan shillings per month, according to WUBA's statistics. But someone is here telling us that that is something that brings 100K daily, and that's a total of 3 million shillings. And of course, motivational speakers. Yeah, of course, count sense in the people in there. I mean, that is something that is very, very, but I think it's possible depending on how you really stretch your thinking capacity. Okay, now this is Amos Wekesa. He says that showed these pictures to an Australian media personnel on Sunday at Latitude, and she couldn't believe this was Uganda. Not many Ugandans believe it's Uganda too. What do you think? Is it Uganda? Does it look like Uganda? Probably, yeah, because we have quite lots of beautiful nature in there, and yeah, it's possible. I mean, the challenge is that majority of people have quite a bad picture about this country, Uganda, but things are a little bit different. Okay, this is Omutume Planet, and then you will meet somebody boldly saying that Ugandans don't want to work. How true is that? I mean, Ugandans are one of the most hardworking human beings on the entire continent, probably, and actually the world at large. Very hardworking people. And now this is Toothbrush says that how Ugandans protest. Well, internet literally is trying to say that Ugandans, when it comes to online social media, I mean, there are quite lots of protests, but when it comes to the reality, like what our brothers in Kenya demonstrated, well, that is something that is quite very hard to be done, and I think that's a reality. We find it much more easy to express what we feel about our political ideologies on the social media as compared to really putting them into the physical action. Well, that is it regarding the social media trends. Now let's get into our update. This time around, we shall be looking at financial fraud in Uganda, and of course getting to understand that the law society has been urged to be vigilant in this case, and also the Financial Intelligence Authority, and of course to keep an alert. And we get to realize that financial intel is a vital necessity if we are to really cut the aspect of financial fraud. Let's get into this, and of course coming back, I'll be joined with Joram Paul soon, as we shall be sharing some more insights regarding that. Stick around.
I think Miss Erekia from Nigeria made a wonderful presentation that we shall certainly learn from and study to see what it is that we can tweak of our systems so that we can regulate this space in a better way. We also had the insights from South Africa and the global insights together with, I think, MTN, Airtel, and the media, who gave a good summary. Therefore, in my view, there is no debate about the absurdity of a fraud-invested environment and the threat it poses to governments, the economy, and the population as a whole. The government of Uganda takes very seriously and prioritizes the fight against this vice across all state agencies. You must have witnessed this stance of the government through your interactions with the Bank of Uganda and the Financial Intelligence Authority, among others. The government of Uganda continues to be an eager and consistent participant in various international programs and mechanisms aimed at combating fraud at transnational level. In light of this, the government of Uganda is processing legislation to entrench mutual legal assistance that will ease intergovernmental cooperation to combat fraud. This is important considering that the fraud that I'm sure concerns you all, it is sophisticated and most probably cross-border. It goes without saying that fraud has a tremendous negative impact on society in view of the wide range of the forms in which it manifests. It is no wonder that a significant number of offenses under the Penal Code Act, Chapter 120 of the laws of Uganda, touch on fraud. For example, we have theft, obtaining money or securities by false pretense, obtaining credit by false pretense, fraud relating to mortgaged property, fraud by trustees in respect of trust property, uttering false documents, or fraud related to checks and similar documents. But even with these laws, fraudsters are always innovating and in some cases are a step ahead of enforcement agencies. It is also the case that the ever-evolving and advancing technologies in every space offer both opportunities and challenges in the fight against fraud. Experience shows that fraudsters are fast and fast. So fast is coming fast and fast moving very fast. So they are fast and fast movers in figuring out how to manipulate new technologies, sometimes with devastating success. It is therefore critical that we all invest in the area of technology know-how, particularly in the area of crime detection. I'm happy to observe that since the passing of the Anti-Money Laundering Act in 2013, tremendous and observable progress has been made in detecting fraud in the financial sector. Through the work of the Financial Intelligence Authority established under that act, it has become ever more difficult to launder money or commit financial fraud through the financial system. Moreover, the law imposes certain duties on institutions and professions that may be used to launder money, such as NGOs, churches, law firms, banks, etc. We are encouraged to learn that banks have been particularly compliant to this law. Let's all, in both the public and private sectors, continue to exert our efforts, both individually and collectively, towards dealing with the risk that fraud presents to our interests. Banks need to be particularly vigilant when dealing with corporate entities and should ensure that such entities are not used for fraud purposes by persons hiding behind the mask of incorporation. I think we heard that from the presentation of LegalMark. I think that was well articulated. Banks must interest themselves in the rules relating to beneficial owners of companies trusts, and cooperative societies. Perhaps this area could be a topic for your discussion at the next forum. Ladies and gentlemen, a broad-based cooperative effort in coming together and discussing such pressing issues is fundamental in the mitigation of fraud, and today's agenda is one such effort. Our success in mitigating the fraud risks will depend in part on the extent to which we do not forget the lessons or the viewpoints, insights generated today.
Well, that's regarding that is financial fraud in Uganda, and of course getting to see that, of course, quite very lots of cases happening in there, and majority, of course, relating to the bank fraud related issues in a way. Well, the Financial Intelligence Authority, of course, has been urged to be much more vigilant, as we know it will be quite a key aspect in there. But also, according to the discussions, realize that the fraudsters seem to be ahead of always of every step of the system to be able to tap those monies in there. So I'm joined with Joram, and of course to discuss this matter a little bit further and give a few hints in there. Joram, a very good morning.
Yes, good morning, Andrew.
Welcome back from the traffic.
Yeah. And of course, by the look of things here, when you look at financial fraud in Uganda, I think it is the idea, it takes us back to the real meaning of fraud.
Fraud, yeah, sure.
Because I think Ugandans only relate to fraud or theft only when someone has lost money to a thief. That is when it becomes theft. So financial fraud in the country comes in many ways, by the way, for Ugandans out there. I want to believe that we all know how we've lost money. First of all, you look at people who have actually lost money to banks. There are cases where commercial banks actually have been robbing people of their money.
There have been cases
from their accounts. From their accounts, and big financial institutions.
Exactly.
You talk of Stanbic Bank, you talk of Centenary Bank. All those are cases that have actually been there. And of course, everyone has been coming up with their own side of the story. These are allegations, though, and of course, these allegations. There are some people actually saying, "I have an account with this bank, and I
lost this money." Yeah.
And of course, there are also other cases relating people who have lost money to mobile money. Of course, these are the most famous ones these days.
Okay.
Someone can easily call you, has access to your number. Once you input your PIN, we've heard of these fraudsters, you end up losing the money you've been having on your account. So I think it is more to do with vigilance. And of course, even with this particular update, you realize that the Law Society has been urged to be more vigilant, because these are cases that are going to be
which are emerging
every day, and commercial cases like these ones are quite profitable for those in law. But however, you have to make sure that your client, gets back what they lost at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also in a statement that he made when he was discussing in there, he mentioned some aspect that in most cases the fraudsters seem to be ahead of the system. And
very true.
As much as we try to draw systems we secure our systems, the banking systems, because majority of them operate online, But these hackers, these fraudsters, why always they seem to be ahead? Should we say that the responsible personnel also develop the systems are also in a way they cooperate, because there is no way, honestly.
Because by the way, and of course there are some people who have actually come out and said these fraudsters are either people who have been working for companies,
for those companies, yes,
or they've been working for, let's say, a telecommunication company, and they know how the mobile money transactions work.
Really work.
So it is very easy for them to tap into someone's account, someone's and withdraw money.
Okay.
Or at the end of the day, some people have actually come out and revealed that, well, it may not be the same case with that, but there are also some cases where you get to realize that for example, people work in the banks. Remember, when you're opening up an account, you never know who has access to your personal details. You just fill in everything because maybe it is only you and maybe someone you wish to share with. But remember, that means the bank is having all those confidentialities with them. So I think when you look at cases of robbery, sometimes companies come out and reveal that that is why most companies, especially commercial banks and of course some other fintech related companies, after releasing employees or after laying off workers, they come out publicly because they want to tell people these people no longer work with us. So that means if you're working with them, you're working them with them at your own risk, and they are now independent. So if they tell you anything to do with our company, just know they are off limits for now. So I think when we talk about vigilance, it's all about even us individuals.
It starts with us.
Yes, of course, the emergence of fraudsters has actually become uncontrollable lately. But of course, if we continue to take ourselves, if we continue to just, let's say, be part of this, it would be the better way.
Well, a very, very interesting aspect. Now, according to a reporting here, now in relation to bank fraud, we see that billions of undisclosed monies were lost in more than 200 banking fraud cases. That is according to the Uganda Bankers Association. Now, in a forum organized by Stanbic Bank to address fraud, and of course as a growing problem that is in digitizing financial sector, the players resolved that is to create a fraud sharing platform that is for information, but also best practices on how to manage fraud, of course fraud related matters. And Jerome, in this matter, we see that there is this aspect of we need to work together.
Yes, very true.
You need to work together. I mean, to try to cut down this aspect, because if we have this aspect of individualistic tendency of me, I do my own aspect, I do my things the way I think should be done. I think we shall not work. There should be cooperation with financial intelligence authorities, the law society. We need more sessions. Now like what happened at in there when they were discussing that, it is something very, very good. I mean, and that joint partnership, that joint participation, starting of course with definitely we the individuals.
Yes,
and that would be something very, very efficient. Well, and at 8:26 a.m. and of course we're going to get into a short break, and when we shall be returning, definitely we have something from the world of entertainment and business in sports at the same time. Stick around. A very good morning.
Smart 24